All right. Welcome to the episode of the Bring the Juice podcast. I am your host, Frank Dalena. As you know, before we start each episode, this episode is brought to you in part by the American Pistachio Growers. If you want to perform like the pros, then eat your pistachios. Eat those nuts, kids.
First we gonna rock, then we gonna fold, then we let it pop, don't let it go.
Today we have our first collab of pods of the year of 2023. I have Caleb from the Beware of Bulldogs pod. If you haven't heard of him yet, what are you doing if you're from the Valley? Come on. All 559ers should know about these guys. Caleb, say what's up to Bring the Juice Nation real quick.
What's going on, Bring the Juice? Love what you're doing, Frank. We had you on way before Bring the Juice.
Yes.
It was just an idea.
Yes.
And you were not bobsledding. Skeleton.
Yes, sir.
And we were drinking wine and having a good time. So
yeah.
And I'm a big Bulldogs fan, so I was a fan of you, watching you.
Appreciate
your
it.
brother now, and hopefully your youngest brother.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, come on, let's go, Tedford. Get him out there.
Hey, you know what? We're going full circle. I love that you brought that up. Yeah, I think I was still skeletoning or just finished skeletoning. I forget the exact timeline, but had a great episode with you at the winery. Mm-hmm. Can I foreshadow your new upgrade of videography?
Yeah, you can.
So as you guys know, Jake, our video man, he absolutely has elevated Bring the Juice. Crispy clips, absolutely electric, professional. Beware of Bulldogs is now going to be on that same trend.
We're working towards it. Yes.
Working towards it.
Yeah.
2023 is going to be a big year.
Oh, yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, go Dogs, baby.
Go Dogs. You know, Caleb, before we dive deep into Bulldog football, I think I haven't brought it up on the pod yet about the Buffalo Bills number 3, Damar Hamlin. Thursday night football. It was Monday night football? It was Monday night football.
Monday, yeah.
Monday night football. Bengals, Bills. As a football player, it was a scary hit. Made me want to throw up. As anybody who watches football, I think everyone knew like that wasn't normal. You know, it looked like a routine hit from, was it T. Higgins?
Yeah.
Yep. Routine hit. It was a football play. And all of a sudden, guy stands up, pops up, looks good, goes down like a sack of potatoes. And it was
I think
scary.
everybody watching knew it wasn't head. It was
a football play. Totally.
Yeah, and it wasn't spine because he stood back up.
Yep.
So something else, which is not good.
No. And, you know, I don't have the exact, you could Google exactly what happened, but it's a rare instance that happens 20, 30 times a year in like the world or something like that. Everything lined up to become the perfect situation where essentially it hit him wrong. And I'm happy at this point now. He's woken up. He's communicating. As we're recording this, he had his first interaction with his teammates, which is amazing. And just thinking like, you know, it's sad to say this, but it almost was treated as if he wasn't with us anymore. The way people were tweeting, the way people were giving condolences. I think it was the first time I've seen live prayer on ESPN ever. Mm-hmm. Pretty crazy. I mean, his charity raised like what, $5 million in like 24 hours, and he was expecting to have $2,500.
Yeah.
To wake up to that, it's insane. And the people that are, you know, I hate saying the word tweeting, but tweeting is a way of prayer, I guess, in 2023.
Right.
You know, I saw Robert Golden kind of brush on it, but most people don't get to see their praise and their flowers. Mm-hmm. Usually when the worst happens, then everyone tweets the nice things about you and posts the nice videos about you and says how great of a character you were.
Yeah.
And he has, it's, you know, God's worked miraculous things. He gets to wake up and see those things. And I don't think that should be forgotten. You know, it definitely shook the sports industry, but a number one priority is that player's doing better.
Right.
But what like a total earthquake to the game of football.
Yeah, it's wild and it takes you out of left field because you turn on Monday Night Football, you invite your friends over, like what we did.
Right.
And we're going to hang out and watch the game, and then something happens that is totally outside of football or sports, and that's needs to take priority over the game. And so from the fan perspective, you want the best for the players, and and also, it moves you into a different realm of thinking of, hey, I know we're here to watch the game, but now let's all pray for Damar and
right. And I think that seeing the way the players on the field reacted to the situation definitely shifted some people's perspective. A couple professional athletes throughout the games on multiple different news channels said, I've been side by side with guys who have torn their ACL,
right,
who have torn their Achilles, who have had crazy things happen. I've never seen something like that. You've never seen that before. It definitely is scary. And even the trainers, you read the articles, the interviews of people's different perspectives, it wasn't like, oh, this guy's down. Like, no,
right.
Get everybody, the ambulance, the people that are going to shock you, the whole bit needs to come out right now because something is level 10 wrong. We have a code red right now.
Right. And my first thought was, and don't take this the wrong way, but how blessed are we in the United States of America to be sheltered from those kind of experiences?
Right.
Because I don't want anyone that I know or even watching football players to experience that. And for us to have those reactions, I think is a good thing because we've come so far.
Yeah. And I think, people are saying like, this is the most united sports have been in a really long time.
Right.
It's sad it takes this type of circumstance. But it is true. And, for the players watching, it's a traumatic experience, but they got their teammate back. Kind of a sideways dimension though off of it. I got a little Twitter beef, but not with anybody. Just I quote tweeted it. As you know, Skip Bayless, you're in the media world. You know who Skip Bayless is.
Yes.
Him and Shannon Sharp go at it quite frequently. And he tweeted 10 minutes after this happened. Twitter's going berserk at this time, which is the best resource of news per second basis, essentially.
Right.
Skip Bayless tweet, I'm going to read it. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. Now, look, and if you look at the replies and the quote tweets of that, people are pissed. Not just normal average Joes, not just your Bring the Juice accounts, but like high profile other reporters of Skip Bayless level, athletes that are very, very much known in the NFL community or just the athletic community are like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, this dude's not moving. This dude, we don't know. There was a point where people didn't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And luckily he's responding well now. But still, that was insane. I mean, it hasn't happened ever since I've been playing football or been watching football.
Right. And I think to Skip's tweet, if you really read what he says, I know people did not like what he said. If you really read what he says, it's actually now reading it and you reading it, it's a good tweet.
Now reading it.
Right. 10 minutes after someone just had a heart attack. That's not good. And that's what I dislike about Twitter.
Well, it is. And let's say you haven't watched that Twitter in the last 10 days, but you've seen all this go down. You're like, why does everyone think Skip Bayless is an asshole? And it's like, well, you didn't know, like, in the time exactly. For me, it was the timing of it. Believe me, we could sit here for another 10 minutes and be like, okay, so what's the playoff picture going to look like?
Right.
Because
that's what they're doing now.
Yeah. And there was all these, they canceled the game, but now what's it mean for the playoffs? Is someone going to get in that shouldn't have gotten in? But it's the timing of it, and it is about respect. And like, there was, I'm sorry, as much as of a professional Skip was, it is. And look, like, the dude has his own show on Sports Center, ESPN every
Fox
day. Yeah, Fox. There you go. And like, the dude is known. Like, don't say you're not known. And it sucks that sometimes you got to say, he's kind of become known as the guy who says crazy stuff. Not like crazy, like that's a hot take, like crazy, like you sound like a dumbass, and Shannon Sharp is going to argue with you because you sound like such a dumbass.
Right.
Or even lately it's been like, you're disrespecting Shannon Sharp. Like, say what you want, argue with him on your little TV show, but the dude is a seasoned, proven football player. Like, he played in the NFL You didn't. So
right.
Stay in your lane. That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm not going to talk to Michael Walker about what it's like to tackle somebody coming through the A gap in the NFL when I haven't done it, but he's been doing it the last 3 years.
Right.
Stay in your lane is part of the deal, I feel like. The timing of it was poor, but that's part of the deal. And one last thing on the Damar Hamlin situation. They said, and I thought this was awesome that they said this. As crazy as it is, there's only one better place that whole situation could have went down, and that would have been in a hospital itself. Mm-hmm. Because think about it. If he got in a car accident and that happened, paramedics were not going to get there that fast. Doctors were not going to, all that equipment that was needed, all the staff that came and helped, that was trained like crazy to do that at the highest level, they're not going to get there. And you had 2 minutes before he died.
Right.
And you're on Monday Night Football right in the middle of the field. And it's like, boom, biggest stage ever. Millions of people are watching. 100,000 people are there alone at the game. It is crazy to say it's a blessing it happened there, but a little bit. It kind of is a little bit of blessing in disguise right there.
Yeah. Now, how about the fact that all these crazy injuries happen in Cincinnati in that stadium?
I think
they need to move. They need to build a new stadium.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on this year. People want to say it's because of like the vaccine, which if there's a relevance towards that, I don't know. But there definitely has been some weird injuries this year. I mean, put Tua in the equation. Like,
he needs to retire.
Tua's on concussion protocol for the third time this year.
Yeah, his brain is going to mush. If he wants a future, he needs to retire.
It's sad, but it's kind of looking that way. I don't think you should be able to be on concussion protocol 3 times in one season. That's not healthy.
No.
At the same time, there's, for Tua's situation, tens of millions, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars that he's leaving off the table. And it's like, okay, yes, he'll be 26 and he'll have his brain, but he also has $100 million less dollars in his pocket. Well, that's when you're kind of weighing the odds. I know there's a lot of things. Yeah. I don't think it's not apples to apples. It's not.
No, I think one of the things that we get caught up in the sports world, and as a fan, you want to see the best product on the field, right, in every sport. But I think, and there's a lot of money involved in athletics. But the thing that we forget to talk about is what is really most important, and that is, like, in my family, we're not very wealthy, but we say we are wealthier than most because we have a healthy family. Mm-hmm. And we have, I just had a baby, so we have young kids.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So like, I bring that up as like time, you have time with healthy family, you have time, you're young. That is more significant to me than dollar signs.
Right.
I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but that's how I feel. And so when someone has a heart attack or someone gets 3 concussions in the season, like, look, guys, they're my age.
Yeah.
Go, you have tons of time. Spend that you're more wealthy than, 1, with money. 2, you have lots of time. So spend time with your family, start a family, spend time with your friends, the hobby that you like, make that your profession.
Sure.
So that's kind of how I feel about it. And it's unfortunate that these injuries happen, and that I'm a fan of of these sports, specifically football, because it is players are so injury prone.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I get it. And we bring up a valid point there. I do think we take health for granted until someone you're close to or yourself isn't healthy. And you're like, dude, I would do anything to get healthy right now. I would do anything to be running at 100% right now. In shape, eating good, feeling good, sleeping good, being able to function it fully when you got to think. And once things, you see, like, your grandparents, your mom, your dad, all this stuff start going a certain way, it gets tough, man. There's some, you take it for granted. I'll share something a little personal. My grandfather had his leg amputated in November. It was a war injury. Guy's a badass. Mm-hmm. Been living with it for 52 years since it happened. Finally caught up to him. Came a little bit of a health concern. They said, hey, it's in your best interest to amputate. and didn't want to. Then it was kind of like, hey, it's time.
Right.
Did it, and I'm so, grateful that he's feeling better since it. But for a 70-year-old guy, that's a hard transition at that point in your life. Just going off the health thing a little bit. And you know what, too? Yeah, we're talking $100 million. How old are you? 28?
27.
27. Okay, I'm 26. Making $1 million a year, which is what, a starter in the NFL-ish, give or take, sometimes less, sometimes more, would make unless you're one of the bigger dogs.
Right.
That's hard to do it at our age, man. That's an insane amount of income if you're making $100,000 a year at 26 years old, you're a freaking stud. Like
right.
You are top dog. That's 10x that. You could, I mean, Tua's for sure got what, 50 million in the bank? Yeah. Something. I have no idea. I totally pulled that out of my
more
ass.
Than me.
More than me. You could.
All of us in this room combined.
You could figure it out. I mean, Tua could retire and still live a life full of wealth and health and safety and good fortune and set himself up for good things in the future. And I think, multiple guys have come on this podcast where it's like football, that money, like it's great and all, but if you could be, I don't say smart enough, but there's a slight ounce of wisdom in there where you could use some of that money and invest it into a vehicle which will create you more money. Yeah, dude, that's where the real money's at. Not just collecting it one check one time. There's levels to it, and it takes guidance and the right connections and whatnot.
And education,
yeah. It's and we're young, man. You get given $1 million. Shit, hell yeah, I'm gonna go buy a new truck or something like that, right? It's part of the deal. Right. But if I had to bank, I'll tell you who I would bank with. I would bank with Fresno First Bank. Fresno First Bank is a local bank to Fresno and the community. They have a strong connection with business owners to help them grow and succeed. And if you're looking for a definitive banking experience where they're going to treat you like family and take a sound business approach to what you need, then Fresno First is where you need to be. They understand business. They personalize procedures for each business owner. You go in there, they're great. I love them. And that
was smooth, man. That was smooth. That was good.
I like that. We've gotten better.
Yeah.
I kind of want to let's jump to that. I was gonna wait for that for a little bit later, but one thing about Fresno First also that I want to give them some love on, NIL. Okay, I know about it from a player's perspective. You see it from I have been a supporter of Fresno State, not because I play there, because that's what I do. Perspective. Fresno First Bank is the only people I have physically consistently seen who sponsors athletes for NIL deals. They pay them a little chunk of change. They do a little commercial.
Yeah.
They support them. Players itself, you feel awesome because I got an NIL deal. And it's like their commercials, they're cool. They're well produced. They're awesome because they're the old school sports center. If they got away from that, though, I still think they'd be awesome. And as a guy who loves the Valley and is trying to elevate the program, they're doing their part. I appreciate the hell out of them. And they are good people at that company. I've gone to their tailgates. I've met with multiple people who work there. All of them are high character people, and I appreciate Fresno First Bank. But I think they really grabbed the bull by the horns on saying, hey, NIL is a thing. Yeah, we support the dogs. We're going to check that box. I can't tell you one other company in Fresno, one other business, one other restaurant, whatever you want to call it, that is consistently, maybe it's under the table. I don't know. But why would it be under the table? Why would you not be like, hey, we're so-and-so. We support the dogs. We do this for the dogs. That's good business. That's good for everybody. Like that's good PR.
Yeah, I think it's going to change. So what I've noticed and what I'm hearing is, there's a lot of people investing. Well, one, because this NIL is so new, people are still figuring it out. But a lot of businesses are investing money elsewhere. So let's say like tailgating or tickets or ads on the radio and things like that. Where I think it's slowly going to change to, okay, we need an NIL deal.
Yeah.
Because I think you're going to reach more people, and it just is going to mean a little more if you have an athlete representing you, saying things about you. So I think it's changing. But yeah, it is. also I talked with some of my co-hosts last night about this, and Fresno's poor. The Central Valley is very poor.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really hard. You're going to have to come up with a really good excuse to persuade a business to spend their money with an athlete for Fresno State.
Yeah.
So I'll just tell you this. We have an NIL deal with Jordan Campbell, a basketball player, and I'm trying to do as much as I can for him, but he's in season right now and things like that. So, and it is hard just working around rules, like with the school. I don't want to break any rules. I want to do everything the right way.
Yeah. Don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah. And I want him to be performing at his highest level.
Don't be a distraction.
Yeah. Like, hey man, you got practice and we want to record. Forget about me, dude. Go shoot. You want to stay after practice for an hour and shoot? Go do it. I don't want to be in his way. So from that perspective, it can be tough where I think, but
well, is it like are you just saying like, hey, we'll give you exposure on the podcast? Like, is it a monetized thing? Like, how's it work?
Right. So for us, it's just, hey, why don't you come help? We'll help you build your brand.
Okay.
So come on the podcast, let people get to know you.
Right.
You have a great game. Let's come talk about it.
Right.
Because I can't pay
Draymond
him.
Green, but you could use our podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I can't pay you. Sorry.
Yeah.
But there's an initial cost though to get in to talk to athletes at Fresno State. So just getting through that.
At NIL, if you go through Fresno State, they make you pay X amount of money just to get to talk to them.
Yeah, it's called Open Doors.
Okay.
So people they use what's called Open Doors, and to get to an athlete, it's nice because what Open Doors does is you pay through Open Doors. They relay that to the athlete. I hope so. And then they take care of all the paperwork instead of you and me sitting down and going through all the paperwork and then me going to the school and handing it to the school and all these things. We're done. Open Doors.
So let's say I wanted to have Jordan Campbell and say, hey, I'm going to pay you $100 once a month for you to Bring the Juice headband in a basketball game, whatever. And I can't just give him the $100. I need to go through Open Doors.
Well, you could.
He can't. I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
Can you though?
Well, I don't know. Yes, you can. Now the problem is that when you give someone, now Jordan Campbell's older, but you give an athlete money, that's income. And our school systems don't teach taxes. First of all.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Yeah. So, and it's just like. I hate to bring this up because I know Fresno First Bank is a sponsor, but loans. So I've heard like kids are given loans.
Yeah.
Well, you take out a loan, you have to pay taxes on that.
Yeah, and you got to eventually pay back a loan, don't you?
Right. Yeah. Right. And
loans.
Right. But does a kid coming out of high school know that? No. That, to my knowledge, no. Or if they say you can drive around this car, right? We're going to give you a car. Well, a car is property, and you have to pay taxes on that too. So, sometimes they just end up selling their car. So,
yeah.
But sorry, we got off track. Back to Fresno and players is that they have to, any income that they make, they have to pay taxes on.
Yeah.
And so if it goes through Open Doors or whatever it is, they can see what they make. And then
they subtract the taxes. It's like a paycheck essentially.
I don't know if they do that, but I'm hoping they do.
Yeah.
It would be really easy to going through that. I was
going to say, Jordan Campbell, here, I'm going to give you $100. You're only going to keep 77 of it because you're accounting for what you're going to have to pay on taxes down the road type thing. Right. Yeah. Right.
Now, so that's what I ran into. So I think from my perspective, if I can do it, and I don't own a business or anything, I don't make a bunch of money.
Right.
Anybody in Fresno can do this.
Yeah.
It's easy. You just have to go do it.
Yeah.
Now, shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. But anyways, you go ahead.
Well, it makes me think. You brought up Fresno's poor. I will say it's not LA. Yeah, it's not the South. It's not the SEC where people are gonna people understand. If you take Alabama football out of Tuscaloosa,
oh yeah,
there's nothing in Tuscaloosa at all. So people put all their money into the football program. There's certain schools where that's where it works. I do think that Fresno has enough people, and maybe we don't have enough $100,000 donors, but I think you got a lot of people that are $10. We got a lot of people that would donate $10 a month to do something. And it makes me think though too, how much money is enough money to keep a player or to bring a player in? I don't necessarily know if there's a value on that. And I don't even think it's about that. I think it's more about the deals. I
had this conversation last night. Yeah.
If you're advertising and you're the spokesperson for Me and Ed's Pizza, and you get to get a free Me and Ed's Pizza, and Jake the video guy comes over and freaking watches you scarf down a large pepperoni and it's all over your face, and you're like, God, this pizza is so good. Come if you support the Fresno State Bulldogs. Dude, put that on your Instagram. It's priceless. Make it to where that he has to post it on his Instagram too. That's the trade-off. You get a free pizza. You get free pizza. But you got to post at least once a month on your Instagram one of these reels.
Right.
Hey, what's one pizza to Me and Ed's? Totally worth that reel.
Right.
Is it not?
No, you're right. But you brought up the deals going on, and I just think I had this conversation about Evan Williams last night. Like, what is it going to be what's the deal to keep Evan here? Now, granted, there's probably other things going on.
Right.
But just for conversation's sake.
For NIL purposes.
Right. So is one pizza going to be enough to keep a player versus Power Five's bag of money?
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
I agree. I think, Evan's a good friend. He's a big Bring the Juice guy. Love him, and I wish him the best. Mm-hmm. And he has earned his respect here. He really has.
I just wish he went somewhere else other than Oregon. I hate Oregon.
I pretty much, he's chasing the bag, man. And you gotta.
Oh, I understand.
Let him do his thing.
I know. I understand. And I can't. Nobody can stop him.
No, exactly. And I don't think Fresno's going to be the place that has a giant amount of NIL money that recruits players in. I don't think we're not that guy. You're not that guy, pal. We're not that guy.
Right.
And I don't think it is how much money is enough money for NIL. I think it's, we got to just have some deals on the table, man. We need these. Right. We need these more commercials. We need more restaurants. There's no reason you shouldn't watch ABC 30 Action News, and as in between segments, there's not 4 Fresno State athletes up there doing something, supporting a company of some sort.
Right. I totally agree. And I think that there is a big opportunity for student athletes, and that needs to be taken advantage of by by Fresno State, by the school, where you have Bring the Juice, which is a really big podcast, and send athletes to Bring the Juice.
Sure.
Beware of Bulldogs. All we want to do is support Fresno State athletes. Send them to Beware of Bulldogs. Well, we're happy to blow them up. And then, there's a lot of businesses that will do it. Now, then there's the question of needs to be an internal look at Fresno State and as a fan base. Are we doing the most to where we're helping our student athletes by, how do I want to put this, by being not pissing all of Fresno State off? But I think the school needs to do more. I think the school needs to do more with the student athletes.
So this leads me into my, and I'll carry that over into the next little thing that I wanted to get into. I posted a video recently. There's a lot of chatter about a couple guys in the portal. Coach Moore left, and the reality of it is, look, guys are always going to do what's best for their future. So the grass isn't always greener, but when respect's earned, you got to give it when it's due. From the player's perspective, it's tough. Everyone has their own situation. There's a lot that people don't see that happens. From a coach's perspective, dude, you're trying to feed your family. I mean, you're working a job, and if you're offered a promotion where the pay is going to be better, you're going to go do it. It's part of the deal. You would do the exact same thing. I would do the exact same thing. Anybody listen to this would do the exact same thing. If you work for, you're a CEO of a business, and you're making $100,000, and business down the street's gonna offer you $200,000, you might tell the business, "Hey, I'm this guy. I want to stay here, but they're gonna offer. I need that $200,000." And they say, "Hey, I can't do it." Hey, man, wish you the best. All you can do. It's all you can do. So, anyways, I got into it. Got a lot of good responses. Got a couple, people going off on their tangents about some things aren't good enough. But I kind of wrote down this little formula, and let me know what you think here. So it starts with money. Sports are a business. It revolves around money. Mm-hmm. College football, which is the main sport of Fresno, needs to bring in money. We need to elevate our game. So step one is we need to bring in money. People say, well, where's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Look, I don't have all those answers. I kind of have a couple answers. But my first answer would be, let's not raise $30,000 and give it to the players. It doesn't matter. Players aren't going to come here because they get $500 extra for committing to Fresno State. That's not worth enough. That money that we raise, it needs to go. We got to start somewhere with the facilities. And that's my true believer as a former player, as a fan, and as a guy who's still involved in the program through family members. Mm-hmm. People like shiny things.
Right.
Got to shine a few things up. Mm-hmm. I got a golf tournament coming up, trying to raise money for the Fresno State Bulldog football facility improvements. Okay.
Right.
I have a few ideas. I've talked to Terry Toomey. I've talked to a few people about, hey, where can this go? We have a few plans. I can't make that call, but what I do know is it's not going to hurt the program to be using my platform or Bring the Juice to raise money to help the Fresno State Bulldogs. That's a fact at this point. So I think raise the money, you get the facilities. All right, so now let's say we get these shiny things. You got to keep winning. And not just, yes, football needs to stay consistent. We're blessed where we have Coach Tedford, and he's here to stay. I believe that. You have a lot of guys on that coaching staff that are Bulldog born, Bulldog bred. But you got to keep winning games. We've had some insane years the last 5, 7, 10 years.
It's been awesome.
It's been awesome.
I'm just bummed that I was in school right before him.
Well, what I'm saying is, though,
I know who I'm talking to.
Right. You got to stay winning, because in reality, it's like, why would UNLV not be the number one target to get into these next schools? Like, they're in Las Vegas. People want to go to Las Vegas. It's a great destination. They get to play in a Raiders stadium. The facilities are upgraded.
Right.
They don't win enough, though. That's kind of their Achilles heel on the whole thing.
And they fired their
coach just won Mountain West Coach of the Year, and they got fired.
They're dumb.
Yeah.
They're dumb.
Anyways, so raise the money, get the facilities, keep winning, and I think that will equate to a hands down have to happen conference upgrade. I think it has to happen. I think it could happen without all the upgrades of the facilities and whatnot. I think tomorrow we could get traded to the Big 12 and we'll compete, or the Pac-12 and we compete.
Oh yeah.
Bring in the money, get the facilities, keep winning equals a conference upgrade, and then I think that would equate to keeping your players and not being a growth chamber for coaches to come, have success, and move on to better jobs.
And now players.
Right. And now it's players. That's the thing. Because of the way the transfer portal works, you have a few good years at Fresno, you get to bounce to the next spot where they're going to pay you a little more. And this is just the reality of things. Again, I've said this before on the pod. If you got X amount of stats at Fresno State and you got X amount of stats at Alabama, and people are going to draft people to the NFL, they're taking the guy at Alabama every single time. You might be able to have double the amount of stats at Fresno State and half the amount of stats at Alabama. This is a little bit of a stretch here. And they still might take the Alabama guy just because he went to Alabama and you went to Fresno State.
Right. And, we were talking about this on our episode last night, and it's... I asked I proposed a question on Twitter, are you Bulldog born, Bulldog bred if you transfer out? Just for a topic of conversation. And
sure.
We ran into the same thing you did. Everybody's coming in. Former players that transferred out came in and left their 2 cents. But when it comes to transferring and keeping kids here, and I mean, you can't tell a kid, hey, stay because we have a good culture when they come in and get offered something else. You can try, but it doesn't. You try when I was 18 and you told me, Caleb, stay at Fresno State, and then somebody calls, hey, dude, we got $500,000 waiting for you with NIL. Good luck keeping a 18, 19-year-old.
Right.
So, it is about loyalty. Because at the same time, it is about loyalty, and I will just can I list some names off? Judge, George, two cars, and then we have Mims, Cropper, Pope, who stuck around, worked out. Hayner, it worked out, and Hayner got an invite to the NFL Combine. So, as much as people want to say, hey, yeah, they're chasing their dream, they're doing things, I've also seen it work out where guys that stay, they learn. You talk about grit. It's Fresno State grit. They learn that. You have to learn it. And so and I think that betters our players. That's my, I guess, thrown out there to all the high schoolers who come and play. I mean, we breed people differently, players differently out here. So yeah, it does hurt when players leave. I understand why they leave. At the same time, I think there still is a big opportunity for Fresno State athletes to be successful at the next level.
Absolutely. It's proven.
Yeah, exactly.
Proven. You talk about some of the shiny names right there. Like, people forget Aaron Mosby has been active in the NFL on the Carolina Panthers.
Michael Walker, Tyler Davison.
There's a lot of guys
Austin
that have
Wins.
come through, and they have success. It's not like we're some scrub program. Like, we're the premier of the Mountain West. People don't want to play us at the Power 5 conference because we knock them off more often than not. It's like, why would you not pick a safe game against San Jose State instead of trying to battle Fresno State, who and there's enough coaches who are seasoned on coaching staffs that are like, hey, they're a little feisty. We don't want to play those guys because they might sneak up and we pay them $500,000 to come beat our ass at home. Like, it's part of the deal. And kind of going full circle about what you talked about. I said, bring in the money, you'll get the facilities, and you got to keep winning, which will equal to the conference upgrades. And then because of that conference upgrade and you got the facilities, you're going to get better TV deals because of it. You'll keep the players, and it won't be just this rotation of coaches where people come, they grow, blossom, and get better deals. It'll be a place people want to come and stay. And then I think that's where you kind of get into, like, once you're at that level, you could hit what we're seeing now with TCU. And just to put it in perspective, Fresno State and TCU were both in the WAC. TCU was in the Mountain West until 2011. We just hit 2023 a couple days ago. 12 years. It's 12 years. Took TCU 12 years to go from competing in the Mountain West to playing for the national championship in a format that is now completely the Wild West. And the format is only going to be more in a Fresno State type school's advantage because they're expanding the playoff. Fresno State goes 12-1 next year. They might be in the playoff. Is next year 12 team or is next year?
The year after.
Okay, so that's what I mean. Like, there's a very good chance like they could be in that mix.
Yeah.
And when you put it that way, it's like, dude, we're not that far away, and we're winning. We win. Put us in the Pac-12. I don't know if we're gonna win the Pac-12 first year. For sure, on the upper end of that pack, though. I think.
With UCLA and USC gone, I don't know who.
Keep them. I still think we're on the upper end of that pack.
Yeah. And you brought up TCU. Right before they moved into Big 12, I believe Andy Dalton led TCU, a Mountain West team, to the Rose Bowl. Kind of the same area, kind of the same place what Fresno State is right now. But we would have been there if Jake and Evan were healthy this year. I 100% believe that.
Yeah. It's that's what makes sports though, man. Injuries are part of the game. It's a shitty part, but it's a part of the deal. I think there is a formula. People always talking about who's in charge, who's this, who's that, who's doing whatnot. I don't really look at that. Some guy was really popping off to me, and I just said, like, dude, listen, man, bro, control the controllables. You can't control who makes what decision where. You can't control getting people keep the positive vibes alive. And if there's one thing that is known without a doubt, yes, we need to do this, that, and the other. We need to figure out how we are going to get more money into that program, and it will equate into results of us growing as a program.
Right.
And Caleb, I'm sure you have some things up your sleeve too. I am trying to set a little bit of a example here with the Bring the Juice golf tournament and being, hey, I'm a guy. Yes, I played here. Yes, I have passion for the program, all this. built a platform with Bring the Juice. I want to have an event where I raise money for it. It's going to be badass. All that money, the net proceeds are going to the Fresno State football facility improvements. And
it's awesome.
Where that money actually goes, I've talked to Terry many times, and I've talked to these guys where it's like, dude, I want there to be, have you ever seen Hot Rod?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
I want there to be a thermometer, a big ass thermometer, and we pick a goal where it says, maybe we need to raise $500,000, $1 million. Okay. Mm-hmm. And whatever my contribution is of net after this golf tournament, boom, scribble it in. Okay. Right. Now we're at $50,000. Okay. Now we're at $120,000. And as soon as we hit that freaking big goal, boom, immediately
cash the check.
Cash the check. We break ground. Mm-hmm. You start building up that new, facility, that new Jumbotron, those new red seats, that new whatever the hell it is that is number one on their list. Because I'm not the professional. If there is something that needs to be done to the stadium that is top priority, then do it. Preferably, I think it should be something that we as the fans who go to these games now can see. Because let's be real here. Do you give a crap if the sewage is now in better condition? I really don't. But if I see some brand new shiny red seats, or if I see a brand new, suite area or something like that, like, okay, hey, I contributed my $100 and I helped build that.
Right.
Son,
Yeah.
Old son. And it's like, it means a little more, man.
Right.
And so, I think the number one thing that I would say is we're not sure where the money needs to go, but it needs to come in. And, I just want to know, kind of just wrapping it up here, from a guy who's, because I'm biased. I've seen both sides of it. I've been a part of it. I respect both sides of it. And I respect Terry Toomey, and I respect Tim Collins, and I respect these guys who are put in hard situations. And they didn't develop the situation that they're in right now.
Right.
They were kind of plopped it when they got hired.
Yeah.
And, from a guy who's a diehard fan for the program itself, your perspective, what do you think people would be willing to do? What do you think? Not the guys who are writing checks for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. I don't have that money. You don't have that money. We both talked about that already. Right. But would you be willing to say, hey, you think there's enough people out there would say, hey, let me sign up for that $20 a month subscription, just like my Apple Music or my Netflix that's on autopilot. We get 10,000 people to sign up for that.
Right.
I mean, you're bringing in what, 2 point something million a year off that? It's doable. Like, what are people willing to do, you think?
I think that is very doable, and I think people are willing to, a $5, $10 contribution per month. Let's get
rid of subscription.
Yeah, get rid of Netflix or whatever, and we'll sign up for that because it means more.
Get rid of Netflix, man.
I mean, I did, but anyways.
I only read now.
I do. It's great, man. I can feel my brain growing. Anyways, I think the Red Wave needs to, they want someone that they can feel like they trust and they can get behind.
Yeah.
And so I've met Toomey. I like Toomey. He's a great guy, but we haven't seen a lot of him out and about getting to know the people of Fresno. So this is when I have conversations, I use this as an example. So back in the day when Pat Hill was coach and Sweeney was coach, there were, there's small Rotary clubs and Kiwanis and Lions clubs, right? There's different things like this. And they would go out and visit all of these guys, and it's people that want to make a difference in the community. They're the people in these clubs, and there's other people too, go to churches or whatever.
Right.
And they would go out and people get to know him. Like, I want to support him. I'm buying a ticket. Right. Or the AD does that and things like that. Well, ever since, there's kind of the new coaching staff and the way that college athletics works with a lot of money. We need money now. We've gotten away from that. They still do it, but not to the level that they used to do it. Mm-hmm. Right. And I know it's tough, but you have to do it. And not only to raise money, but to show the Red Wave that this is someone that we can get behind and support. We're kind of left in the dark right now. We have no idea what's going on. And luckily, we have you and we have some other people covering Fresno State, and we're doing the best we can, that people can get behind and would like to support. And it's that easy, right? So you start a little podcast. I start a little podcast. People are like, oh man, we like these young guys. They care. We'll buy hats from them. We'll support them. But the school, Fresno State, which is a huge part of the Central Valley, can't do that. That is worrisome to me. And I always go to the top. I look at leadership. I think that there isn't someone there that the Red Wave is getting behind and trusts. So, but I know Toomey. I trust Toomey. So
yeah,
I don't. It probably doesn't mean anything coming from me, but he needs to go out there, and all these other people that are involved need to get out there and talk to people and say, hey, did you know that if you just gave us $5 a month and you got all your friends to do it, we could put in new red seats in a year?
Right.
But no, that's not being said. So, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'm definitely, I'm Team Toomey. I mean, I definitely am. Like, I had him when I was playing. I've gotten to know him outside of it. Dude cares. Dude has plans. Dude has plans.
Oh, yeah.
And he is ready to roll. He is a hungry dude. I think
so. I think he needs to tell. I know we like to keep things under wrap.
Right.
But we can't get the Red Wave on board unless, if we don't know.
Yeah.
So, let's get people fired up.
Believe me, I am, me and him have had multiple conversations. I want to have him back on the pod, and we air it out. We did it last time when, again, I was telling you before the podcast, my mom used to come down in the basement of my parents' house with an iPhone and record it. I think that was one of the episodes where, chicken was burning upstairs. She's like, I gotta go turn the chicken off. And I'm like, dude, Mom, like, we're about to get into a good conversation, where I didn't get to show it over these beautiful videos cameras we now have. But Terry's got plans, and I am trying to be the perfect gap bridger, basically, between, I know what the athletes are thinking. The front offices are on the same page, and there's the average, just the people who love this program that are like, hey, what's going on here? And I'm just like, hey, listen, like, you guys are doing a good job. They think you're not, but you are. Like, let me try to, hey guys, we're all on the same page here. I want to do what I can, man. And like, I think that's kind of how it needs to be. And like, they got to get, I'm going to call out the fans of Fresno. Like, you got to get over the wrong person, this, that, the other. Listen, man, it's like saying you don't like the president of the United States. You're not going to move to another country. You're not going to move. If you hate him that much, whoever it is, we've had two very different presidents in the last couple years here.
Everybody's still here.
Everyone really likes this side. Everyone really likes this side. I don't give a damn who you like. Guess what? You're not, oh, I'm leaving if he gets like, bro, you're still living in the same house. Get out of here with that. So get over the, he's not my president, blah, 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 or he's not my AD, or blah, blah, blah. Dude, get over it. Instead of whining and complaining about it, figure out how you could have positive vibes towards it. You'll live better. And it's like, dude, you're a grown ass man, and this is what you're complaining about. Like, bro, it is fun to air out. It's fun to talk about.
Right.
You got a podcast where you talk about strictly the dogs. It's awesome. And I'm glad to see that you're getting success. Like me, said it in my video I posted. Bring the juice. We talk about business. We talk to athletes. Yes, we're for the boys. We're for the dogs. How can I not be?
Right.
It's part of the deals. But the negativity and the saying, oh, it's a shit show or blah, blah, blah. Dude, get that out of here, man. We just won a freaking Mountain West Championship in a bowl game. We are freaking probably going to end the season ranked here. I haven't seen the rankings come out yet. We're studs, okay? We are in a damn good place. We don't have to live in crappy San Jose or crappy Boise, or people want to live in Vegas. I mean, that might be cool, but like, I don't know, not my lifestyle particularly. No. But we produce. We do produce. And as much as you say we're poor, I do agree with that. I wouldn't say we're poor. I would say, if you
money-wise, we're poor.
If you wanted to raise $1 million, though, there's a lot of ways you could equal $1 million. You could have one guy that donates $1 million. You could have 1 million people that donate $1.
I don't think $1 million is a lot of money though.
Okay, I'm using an example, Caleb, but yes, you know what I mean. I'm saying like it's almost like glass half full, half empty. Like it's a lot of perspective. And I think if our goal is X amount per year to bring in, I think you get 50,000 people to donate $20 a month.
I hope so. Yeah.
What's that? Hey, Jake, can we do some math real quick? Let me do that real quick. We got 20 times 50,000 times 12. It's 12 million a year. Mm-hmm. $20 a month, 50,000 people. What's the average attendance at Fresno State football game? 39,000 this last year?
Yeah, I think it was 36. So I don't know.
All right. Some people don't come to the games.
Yeah.
I'm saying you get 50. Let's say you get 20,000 people. You get on that. It's a bump, man.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's gritty the way you got to get those 20 people. You got to knock on doors. You got to get former players to say, hey, man, I want you guys to all sign up for this for $20 a month or whatever the hell it is. Because I think there's people out there that go, you know what? I could do that. I support the Dogs. I go to a couple Dogs games a year. I've gotten a little tipsy at a tailgate before a time or two. Like, I could do $20 a month. And the way subscriptions work, dude, no one's thinking anything of that. That's just going. Right. You're a supporter. Maybe you get like a cool t-shirt out of it or some bullshit. But it's part of the deal.
Right. It's like when you tie it to the church. Oh, wait. Just kidding.
Inside joke, I guess.
we need to, no, we got an app, so it's good. We need more people.
There you go. No, but I think it's all good stuff. I think, the number one thing I would say preach, and I think you preach it too. And I back up the coaches and the players to make the decisions because they're brothers to me. Like Evan Williams is a brother to me. Kirby Moore, freaking dude's invited to my wedding. Like he was a mentor for me and my brothers at one point. Like wish him the best. And I'm sure there's more to follow, but keep the positive vibes around. And that's all we could preach, man. Yeah.
And I think you got to keep, if you are frustrated, because there's a lot of people in the past 2 days that have been very frustrated with what's going on. If you are frustrated, that's when, it's okay. Now we need to take the next step. What are we going to do?
I agree.
And I think that's part of, it's not just an emotional positivity. It's we got to take a step in the right direction to go do something about it.
If not now, then when? If not us, then who? That's the way you got to look at it, Brandon. Mm-hmm. Caleb, it's been a banger of an episode. I'm going to wrap it up. Anything you want to say real quick?
No. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Beware of Bulldogs. If you haven't listened to it, do it now. Absolute banger collab. Let's do it again soon. Before we leave, I want to make sure everyone goes to Dervo's Deli ASAP Rocky because they have new bread on the chicken sandwich. It's crispy lettuce per usual. The aiolis through the roof. Try those crisp cut fries out. Shout out to Dervo's Deli for everything they do for us. I'm going to go smack a sandwich right now because I'm starving. And get your piss hot, everybody. This week's going to be a banger. Start 2023 off freaking hot. Stay true to your New Year's resolutions. Be gritty and bring the juice, baby.